Hi everybody, it's Shanna with Shanna Sweets. I'm glad you could join me today for this great card using Seascape bundle. This bundle has some great dies where you can make some detailed seahorse, a fish, some little other fishies here, and some coral. And it has this great stamp set that has some sentiments and some more elements also. I've paired it up with this other die set, which is Lily Pad. I believe it's Lily Pad. I can't see the name. I have all these extra lily pads here. Layering diorama dies. Sorry, it's not lily pads. They look like lily pads to me, but you can't use them for other things. So I've already cut these out, and I cut it out with the largest, well, like the second largest, and then 2 in. So I took a 4, I believe this was a 4 by, no, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I cut the biggest die out, and then I took and cut another piece out in between it, and that gave me what looked like this, okay? And that's what I'm going to use on the front of my card. Alright, so I'm going to show you how I made this card for a swap, and I don't know why I keep choosing not to make easy cards for swaps. Thankfully I only had to make 10 of them, but still. And then I used the little tag here also. So I just cannot do anything simple. I don't know why. So we started out with a piece of thick basic white, because it is a heavy card, and I'm going to just take, and I'm using all kinds of different sponging stuff, because I did this at a cropping thing one day, and I didn't want to take a bunch of things, and I wanted to use inking, so I'm using a lot of different inking techniques here. So I'm going to use the blending brush first with some Pool Party, and this I'm just going to go on the inside. So, and the outside's going to be covered, so and I'm not really looking for whether it's blotchy or not, because this is like our water, right? So it doesn't really matter. But I am going to stamp on it, so I don't want it really, really dark. I just want to lay a little bit of color so that it's not stark white, right? My seahorse will be on this side. All right. So then our coral is in Calypso Coral, of course. So it's going to go on this side, down towards the bottom, about like that. And let's see, then we have, I'm going to take a little dauber, and I'm going to do our fish. But let's go ahead, before I do that, let's go ahead and put on our little lily pads so we know where it's going to lie, so before I did this centerpiece, I did put it on some, and I took a little Pool Party and I just daubed around the whole thing just to give it some more texture, so that way it would stand out from this piece. Then this is these are that foam adhesive that's just one sheet on it, and I cut it. You can cut it into strips, so you just cut it like this. You can use foam, and then for this one here, I just cut it and put one like that, and then cut it again and layered it a second time. So that way this is double the height than this one, okay? So this is going to go down first. It just helps to have this in here so I don't get my fish too low. and my other elements are inside the middle. And then you can just line this guy up and kind of tuck him underneath. And then he's on single, so he should just tuck. So I'm going to take the fish and I'm going to ink the fish in some daffodil. Okay, so you got your Daffodil Delight. He's all inked up in the daffodil. Then I'm going to take my dauber in the Calypso Coral and just taking part of the dauber to the top part of the fin, the edge on the tail, and the bottom fin. And let's go ahead and go on the snout. All right, and then just stamp him right there, and that gave us some extra color on our fish. Then I can take my bubbles and stamp them right above where that fish is a couple times. All right, then I'm going to take my tag. All right, and I'm going to take, so I'm done with that. I'm going to take the polished pink, and I'm going to take my thank you, and I'm going to go ahead and let me be very careful when you're inking that you don't get along the edge. Ask me how I know, because yep, I've done it. All right, so I'm gonna stamp that like that. Now, to get our seahorses, I have a strip here. I have a sponge. This gives you a little bit different texture than our blending brushes. As you can see, it's not the same. And I'm blending this polished pink. And it's giving me some different, I'm actually bending it a little bit, so it's going to actually really give me. So I got some different colors, textures of pink in here. Okay, then I'm going to take a Wink of Stella pen, squeeze it a little bit because I want it to be kind of juicy, okay, and flick it on my finger so that I'm getting drops. And if you have to make it pool a little bit so that you can get the drops to come out. And sometimes I have to actually make a little pool. There we go, now I'm getting some big drops. Now you can choose to do this before or after you cut your seahorse out. I just found it easier to do it before. Plus I did a whole piece of paper. You can, if you need to, put like little drops on your paper if you get a spot that doesn't like get anything. All right. Now, where we have our ink out, I got another little piece here, and I'm going to take my Pool Party with another sponge, and I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to do Pool Party. Trying to do this a little bit stronger than I did before. That's the nice thing about these sponges, you can push really hard on your paper. Now this one, you can tell I used all the colors for this because And then I took a little bit of Pacific and I just dabbed. Okay, so that one I didn't like. And then I took the Calypso Coral and just, so this one here I put the little fishes. So these little fish here is what I cut that out of. So if you can see, this is what trying to show you the little fishes look like. And they're all kind of different depending on where you lay your die at. All right. So let's cut these little seahorses real quick. And I'm going to cut the holes for my tag. So I'm going to cut my seahorse. Now I did find that I needed a little bit extra shim, so I'm going to see if I got an extra little piece of paper here I can put on top of him, just to give him okay, there's my little holes. Here's my seahorse. Now, this does not cut it completely because it's still attached. So you have to trim in a couple spots. So just take your scissors and trim, because this is like if you wanted to leave it in a big piece, but of course I don't want to, so I'm just going to cut these guys. That spot's easier to cut there, and then come in here and then I don't know if you can see all the pretty little Winkostella. All right, so now we can take our little dot and put just a little bit of glue, and that will go right there. And I'm going to take a piece of our foam and just actually double that up so that it can set on the bottom like that. And then this guy is going to tuck. So I figure out where I like to poke a couple of his things there, those little tassels, and then one there. And then I'm going to take some of our little glue dots and kind of roll it and tuck it under at that point. And then I can slide this out to wherever that was, and then slide it back. I want this guy sticking out. And then I can also take another one here and slide it underneath that part so that it has some attachment there. Then I can take a glue dot to my fishy. And then I'm going to take this twine combo. I love the fact that we have so many colors in it. And just probably could have added it beforehand, but it gives me an idea of how much I want. So then add one more dot to the back of that so that it doesn't flap around. And that is my card for my swap. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you'll use the techniques you learned today and make your own. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.